Tariq is the founder and CEO of Exponential and Mad Group. He's a futurist, TV personality. Most of you probably already know of him. I think he needs no other kind of introduction. Tariq, over to you. Really looking forward to hearing your insights.
Everybody talks about digital transformation and stuff, which is absolutely fine. And that's one of the biggest things that are going on in this world. However, what that's doing is driving societal transformation, as we can see all around us in all sorts of environments, for sustainability and various other issues. And all of this will change us as humans. Human transformation is the other critical thing. So these three things are interconnected. So whatever we do in our work, whether in a digital environment, we need to look at society and humanity as we go forward. Whenever I start a presentation like this, I want to start with an environment where really we anchor something which I think is the single most important thing in the world today. And that word is trust. Without trust, nothing happens. Without trust, these days, nothing is moving. Trust has always been important. Today, it is at an extreme premium. And that is something we need to do in whatever we do, how we build trust, and trust has many forms. It is a currency. Trust, there's ambient trust, there's a transactional trust, there are many elements, about 8-10 different elements of trust. And we need to be focused and working on that. So trust, truth, ethics, empathy, and values, the core, the basis of our business in the future. One thing that has happened in terms of the exponential digital shift, that what used to happen in decades is now happening in months and sometimes in weeks. So we, in advisory, in terms of our business models, in terms of the human aspect and changes in finance and business, all of these things have to change at the same speed. So we cannot have one arm, one leg running at 10, doing something in a decade, and the other doing it in 10 weeks. And this is the kind of shift that has happened due to COVID and over the last couple of years. Now, a quick political issue. Last 80 years ago, we had the United Nations, Security Council, NATO, all of these things were set up. They were set up for a different world, to solve a different problem in a different environment. Today, the world has changed, and these institutions are not being able to solve the big issues of today. Planetary health and sustainability, one of the core drivers in terms of what we are doing to our environment, is really something that we have to really struggle with on a day-to-day basis. Glaciers are falling apart, ice caps are melting, and we need to be able to address that. And COP26 was a disaster. Let's hope things get better. Privacy and security, personal health and wellness. I mean, the World Health Organization talks about bits and pieces here and there, but I think we need to be looking at our wellness environment in addition to just our business environment. Looking at prosperity and the future of work, this should be a new chapter that we should open and start from a clean sheet of paper and build on that. And governance and ethics. If we cannot control Facebook and folks like that, then basically our governance and ethics and control mechanisms have collapsed. And we need to be able to look at that. Every single time, a different question needs to be asked. And are we asking great questions? So as we look into the future, I mean, look at this building that was built in China, 57-story building in 19 days. That fundamentally changes the game for the construction industry, for urbanization, and so on, because the world is going to change. So this is the speed of change, and I wanted to put that dynamic behind it. So for me, the future has already happened. It's just unevenly distributed. When we look into the future, 95, and it's just like driving a car, 95% of our time is looking forward. Only 5% of our time should be looking at the rearview mirror when we slow down, when we change direction, or we accelerate. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we need to bring into our businesses. Because most of the boards, most of the C-level people are spending most of the time looking back. Oh, this is how we used to do it. This is the way it was always done. Can't change this, can't change that. And this is where we're going to basically work on what I call the mindset. The future is no longer, literally in my mind, a time frame, but it's more of a mindset. Every single industry is being affected. Nobody can run, nobody can hide. The pharma, energy, water, education, all of these industries were trying to hide, but they have now been disrupted because of COVID and new things have happened. Another thing which I'm sure Joe will talk about in directly or indirectly in his work, and that is immune system. Every single person, a human being or an organization, has an immune system. An immune system basically is there to protect us, to support us. So I give a funny example of if you wanted to replace your kidney, the first thing that the doctor would give you is immunosuppressants to suppress the antibodies that come and attack you, and then put the kidney in there, and then you have an opportunity to have some success with change. That, ladies and gentlemen, is like a company which is also like an organism, which basically, if you don't give it sufficient immunosuppressant, doesn't matter how good your scale program is and your agility program is, it won't work. We need to actually soften the immune system first before we can actually go in and succeed. Inspired by Don't Look Up, here little dinosaurs looking up into the meteor, total apathy, not believing in science, etc., etc. The Darwinian dilemma, adapt or die. They came in and they were eliminated. They went extinct, not because they were not big and strong, but because they did not adapt. And what's happening is that the 20th century built companies are coming down rapidly, and the 21st century companies are going up rapidly. According to one of the studies at Babson College and some later, 75% of the companies that were built in the 20th century will no longer exist in the year 2030. And 50% of the companies replacing those 75% have not been born today. So everything is to live for. Everything is to work for. New companies, new ideas, new concepts, new business models, new technologies, all of them are there. And how we merge them within our business is what it's all about. We as human beings think in a linear form, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10% growth, 5% growth. But the world is growing in a 10x environment, at an exponential environment. And this gap for entrepreneurs is amazing. For existing incumbent industries, it is a disaster. Johannes Gutenberg in 1454 invented the printing press. Everything changed. Religion changed, education changed, commerce changed, everything changed. One invention. Today, ladies and gentlemen, there are at least 20 to 25 Gutenberg moments happening simultaneously, and they are converging, and many, many new things are happening that we don't even plan. And a lot of these are imminent, and they're happening in our lives, like artificial intelligence, and blockchain, and quantum computing, and AR and VR. This is happening in our lives today, in the finance sector, and in all of the businesses that we see around us. So we need to be able to address that. And this Gates rule, Bill Gates' rule of estimation, is that we grossly overestimate what's going to happen in the next 2 years. So we try to take quick action and massively underestimate what's going to happen in 6, 8, 10 years because we don't understand the exponential curve. As we move forward, we're looking for solutions for the future. So I'll look at the ecosystem, and I'll also look at the execution part of it in terms of the strategy. One of my theses that I work with all the time is what I call the microscope versus telescope. We're generally very good at the microscope, understanding today, understanding our core business, governance, compliance, and so on. But we are not that good when we look into the future and we look at the edge side of our businesses and abundance and scenario planning and diagnostics and all of these kinds of things. So it's really difficult because one eye is on the microscope and the other eye is on the telescope. And that's painful because our brain's not structured that way. And I think we need to be thinking like that. Our business, our personal business, Exponential is defined like that. We stay in the futuristic environment, both in terms of our orientation and our approach. And this is, I think, where we combine really well with what you guys are doing and basically build into the future. So what is happening is not only are we going fast in terms of acceleration, but the acceleration is accelerating. So what this does is creates a completely new dynamic as we look forward, that computation, time, capital, every single thing is becoming ubiquitous and faster. So what we have to do is to learn from this and say, where will this be, plan accordingly, and work back from there. This is the way I see human beings. We are looking at the top half, while the operating system, our thoughts, emotion, beliefs, principles, values, they're the ones that are being forgotten regularly. And this, to me, is what the future person, the person you hire as your consultant, as your partner, not the qualifications, but what is their core purpose, their mindset, their empathy, their flow. And in this whole future, what really matters is go back to basics, family, friends, building our teams, building our future, and building the legacy.